Hey, real quick before I lay back, I got a big question to answer. What to do when a broker does not pay you? There's no simple way around it. But the easiest thing to do about it is contact your load board if that's where you found your broker. You can contact your load board provider. Tell them the MC number of the freight broker. They will give you the number to their surety bond. If you didn't get that number off of a load board, you can contact FMCSA and go to Safer Company Snapshot. Type in their MC number, and it'll bring up all of their insurance bond information. Now, what is an insurance bond? An insurance bond is held by brokers. Freight brokers have to have a $75,000 surety bond that covers carriers in the case that they don't pay. So a trucking company has to have $100,000 auto liability and $1 million auto liability and $100,000 freight insurance in case of accident or freight damages, claim, theft, things of that nature. Freight brokers, on the other hand, have to have a $75,000 surety bond in case they don't pay. So right now, I'm going through litigation with the company. I got $5,500 in the air. We contacted DAT. DAT provided us with the surety bond company's name, contact information, and their policy number. We contacted them, submitted all the paperwork, and they are going to pay us as opposed to the broker paying us. Now, this does not happen often. It has happened before. I got really close, but we wound up getting paid. We just got paid late. One way to prevent this is to not get into it. And what do I mean by that? What's the old saying? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of medicine or cure, however you say it. Before you book a load with a broker, you want to do a credit check. There are instances where there are new brokers that may have a good load, or you may be in a tight spot and you're trying to get out there. Say like me, that was a weekend load, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I gave them a chance. I ran all that stuff. They was insured, all of that. They got a scheme running where they trying to book as many loads as possible before their insurance runs out. Now, to see how profitable that is, I did one load for $5,500. The surety bond put in a notice for their policy to end December the 11th. So they still got just about 2 more weeks, and it's already been a week and a half since I did my load with them. So just simple math, my load was $5,500, but say it was 5,000. 10 loads at 5,000 is 50,000. You can book 10 loads in a week. But then just imagine a month. So we're talking 100 X amount of $1,000 these guys are trying to scheme up before their policy runs out. Luckily, I got my claim in before the policy was over, so I will get paid. Instances where you won't get paid if you didn't do a credit check and the company was actually a real broker but not insured by the bond, then you may not get paid. You're going to have to take real legal action and go to court and all that stuff. And by the time you do all that, they may have been filed bankruptcy or whatever, or they could have just vanished because you got a lot of overseas brokers. That's the worst case scenario. You won't get paid. They file bankruptcy and you book the load when they weren't insured. The next best would be if their claims exceed the $75,000 bond. In that case, they would do some sort of a prorated, adjusted payout for all the people who are owed. So you may not get the full amount, but you will get something. And in the best case, they're still active. You got the claim in time. You had all your paperwork. You did all your follow-up. And you got paid the full amount by the surety bond holder as opposed to the breaker. So a lot of people ask me, what do you do if a broker doesn't pay? Or how long does it take for a broker to pay? Listen, I'm not the one to say don't use new brokers because some new brokers will pay you more. And I know what it's like to be a new company. I've been home 12 years. I've been trucking 12 years. I've been owning 10 years. I got my first truck my second year home. and I've been owner operator for 5 years, but I've been fully independent under my own authority for the last 5 years. So I understand what it's like when you're a new trucking company. Some brokers won't deal with you. You got a 30-day period, you got a 60-day period, a 90-day period, and a 6-month period. Different brokers have different guidelines. Most of them will deal with you after that 6-month period. All brokers would deal with you except for a special few that may want 2 years or 1 full year. And I've only had that pop up out of 1,000 loads, maybe 1.5 times. I think I had some stuff going to a copper mine that was real valuable, and I think it was some military stuff that came up with one time. So I don't mind dealing with a new broker. If your factoring company doesn't approve them, you have to get a letter of release from your factoring company to allow the broker to pay you directly. Okay, so that's one thing. You can't just deal with brokers and expect to get paid directly when you have a factoring agreement. Your factoring agreement is you signing away your future loads for them to pay you immediately in exchange for waiting to get paid for instances like this. And also another thing with factoring companies, all factoring companies are not equal. Just because you get paid the next day you deliver a load and it's factored, there's two types of factoring companies, recourse and non-recourse. I talked about this in the last book. Recourse means if that broker does not pay the factoring company after a set amount of time, that debt will recourse back to you. That's the easiest way for me to remember it. Course, like a course, like you're in direction, that will recourse that debt directly to you. The way factoring companies work is this. Brokers pay on a net 30 most of the time, or net 60. Most brokers would give you 90 days before they try to charge you back or recourse the debt to you. Factoring company pays you 1 day later or the same day, depending on the type of factoring company you have. Brokers then pay the factoring company. The factoring company takes away the time factor for a fraction of the cost of the load. Now, if you got a non-recourse means, if the broker never pays the factoring company, you still keep the money. So you want to look deep into your contracts when you're booking them. But just a quick summary, if you ever in a situation with a broker and they did not pay you, the first thing you want to do is contact the load board where you got that information from so you can get their surety bond information. If you didn't get them from a load board, contact FMCSA. Do Safer Company Snapshot. Put that information in it to bring up all the insurance company information. Contact the surety bond holder. Put in a claim, submit all documents, and make sure you follow up via telephone to make sure everything is in order. Because if you miss one document or for any reason they could try to wiggle out of it, what's stopping them from doing so? Or if you wait too much time, and you can miss out that way. So make sure you do your follow-up calls and emails and make sure all your documents are in order. So the best case scenario, surety bond company pays you the full amount. The next least desirable option is the broker booked more loads than the surety bond covers, which would be more than $75,000. All right. In my case, my load was 5,500. Let's say they booked let's say roughly 15 more loads. Okay. That will cover everything in there. That'll cover the whole bond. So it'll be nothing left. So then if it exceeds, they will start prorating it and try to divvy it up amongst everybody. That's the second. The most desirable, they pay you everything. The second least desirable, if they break it up between everybody, if it exceeded the bond amount. And the worst case scenario, you didn't check that they were insured. You didn't do a credit check. They filed bankruptcy and they're not insured and you completely lose out. So y'all take that and run with it. I'm about to lay back. I'm getting back to work tomorrow and I can't wait because I do not like sitting still. Till next time. Stay tuned. Peace. And not this week, but the following week, December the 7th, I'm going to Puerto Rico for a week, so y'all stay tuned. I got a bunch of exciting stuff already booked. And as always, I'll let y'all travel with me. And one day you'll join me. So till next time, peace.